Streams is a concept where we will perform basically read write operations from external source and also writing into a destination. So in IO streams, we have got top level classes from java.io package. There is a source from where we can read byte by byte information into our Java program. At the same time, from Java program, we can write byte by byte into destination. The information is, if it is binary information like image, video, audio, we will do it with a byte streams. If the information is character, you wanted to read a file, then we will use it with a character stream classes. All these stream classes are readily available for us from java.io package. Stream is nothing but it's a collection of bytes, collection of characters. Input streams are used for reading, output streams are used for writing. How do we make use into our applications? So basically whenever you wanted to read the content into your application by a file, we go with the byte streams and as well as character streams. If your file contains binary information, we go with the byte stream. If it contains the character information, we use with the character streams. And these streams are a very big hierarchy available into Java to display with the byte stream hierarchy with. And we have the operations called as read operation and then close operation. If it is an output stream, we have write operation and close operation. Okay, how do we use it practically? We will see with an example. So first we start with a demo application. So I'm going to make use of file input stream. It's a predefined class coming from our IO package. And every time when we are working with the strings, okay, we need to throw the exception called as IO exception. And from which file you wanted to read, you need to give the file name. For example, in my system, in E drive, I take some file called hello.java. I wanted to read that file. So I simply take E is a path and then hello.java is my file. Any other file you can take it for reading. But whenever we are trying to read this file, definitely it will throw an exception. So either you can use try catch or you can say throws IO exception. Okay, it's a checked exception, so you have to handle it. And now you have to import everything from java.io. So import IO exception class, import file input stream class. Everything is from IO package. After this, we have to read it from file input stream object. F1 is going to have your content. How do we process and how do we display? F1.read is a method which will give you 1 byte at a time. If that byte we store into this k, and this should not be equal to -1. -1 indicates end of file. If it becomes -1 means your content is completed, right? So here when it is not equal to -1, you want to print the content on the desktop. So how do you print the content? So to print the content, system.out.println of, you can display whatever you are reading. So the content what you are reading is stored into k. That k you wanted to print it. Right? As long as it is not equal to -1, we are going to display the content not equal to. Right? Now finally, end of our application, you need to close that. Right? So suppose if you are not using these throws over here, let us say you are going to write a try catch block for this. From here to here you have to write a try catch block. So source surround with try catch block, you write an exception. Everything you will be writing into a try block, and then finally catch block. Afterwards this has to be put it into a finally block. This is how you can make use of finally block. So far you're not using finally block, right? Now you can make use of it. But whenever you use it, this object should not be created inside. It should be globally created into your application. So make it like f1 equal to first beginning it is null, then after you created, and now you are going to close this. But whenever you close again, there is a chance of throwing an exception called uninterrupted exception, surround with again nested try catch. Now it is going to handle that uninterrupted exception for your close method as well, right? This is how you have to use if it is a try catch block. In a simplest fashion, I'll just share you the code so that it will be useful for you to just for reference. You can keep it aside. And now I'll simplify that code for your easy understanding process. I just implement with the throws. So if you have throws, so everything is manageable now. End of your application, you have to close it. Let us read this file. Let us display the content. This is how we are performing read operation. This is called input stream. But what it is showing here, it is just showing with the the values all byte information it is storing. If it is -1, okay, and how do we display this character wise? So you need to typecast into character. Byte has to be typecasted, and if you say println, it will print the content of your hello.java line by line. Like this you will get the content. This is your content present in that file, but I wanted to print it not line by line. So this is how I can get my content from that particular file. So if you can open that E drive hello.java file, is the same content available. That content we are reading through our Java application by using IO streams. Clear? This is how you can read it. So when you are reading, this read method is going to read a byte. So this is called a byte stream. Now I'll do a small change in this. I'm going to use character stream called file reader. File reader f1 equal to new file reader of. So this file reader is a character stream so that it can read one character at a time, rather one byte at a time. This is faster than your byte streams. And file reader is also from java.io package you have to import. Further, to speed up your file reading process, we can also use another class in between called buffered reader. Buffered reader b1 equal to new buffered reader of. You need to pass file reader object as a constructor, so that now whatever is coming from your file is getting read by your buffered reader, and buffered reader will increase the process of your reading speed. It can increase your speed. It's called as a filter stream. This is an input stream. Input stream is which is directly reading from source. A filter stream means which is an intermediary stream. Okay, in between we will be using means input to your buffer and then buffer to your program. Okay, it's an intermediate filter stream. So what is the purpose of this buffer reader is it will increase your speed of your read operation. Then how can we modify? Now it can perform this reading line by line. So I am taking a line called string line. Now we are able to read one line at a time. How are we going to read? b1 dot read line of is not equal to null. We are going to read one line at a time.
Hello.
Earlier we are going to read one byte at a time, right? So now we are going to read one line at a time. That line we are able to print it. So we are able to print that line, and then we can close that objects what we are using with. So b1 dot close and then f1 dot close. Alright, so here is line equal to, first you need to initialize and then save it, and then you can run it. So here is what is the file we are going to read, hello.java, right? But it is going to say null, right? Okay, string line. This like the stream called file reader. Hope everybody is back now. Can you hear me, all of you? Can you see my screen? Okay, good. So the thing is, we are checking with the two different types of streams, right? Character streams and byte streams. Byte streams means which can read one byte at a time, which is very slow. And coming to character streams means which can read one character at a time. So that comes under character streams. So first example, what we practiced is file input stream, which is a byte stream. Byte stream means which can read one byte at a time. So we have observed that here we have used b1.read method, which can read only one byte at a time. We can see only one byte. Now what we are going to do is we can use a character stream classes which can read one line at a time. So we are going to store every line here as soon as we read, and that should not be equal to null. Every time you have to check. It will become null when the content from the file is completed, and we will be printing that. Finally, you need to close buffer and as well as file. So here you can see the content what we are printing it from the file. So compared to this file input stream, now file reader buffer reader is faster. So this is how we can read a file. At the same time, how to write into a file, right? How do we write it? So to write, we need file writer. F2 equal to new file writer. And what is the file you wanted to write with? The reader means the file should exist, right? Writer, file will get created. So C colon, I am taking out.txt file. So where the out file is not here. Clear? You can see my system where out is not available. Now when I say file writer of new file writer, it will create this file into which we need to write now. Writer, file writer. And to write also, to get a buffering effect, we can use buffered writer. B2 equal to new buffered writer. So by using this buffered writer, we can write it fast. Okay. So how do we write it now? Let us import buffer writer and also file writer. Always remember that file reader, buffered reader is for reading, file writer and buffered writer are for writing. Right? Now how do we write it? As soon as we read, the content is available in the line. Now we can say that b2.write of line. Right? So now we are writing through a b2. Whenever we write into b2, it will go to f2 automatically into this file because b2 is connected to f2. Now finally we have to close with b2.close, and then also we have to close with f2.close. Whatever objects we created, everything should be closed at the end of your file operations. Now when I am going to run my application, I am able to read from the file. Also we should be able to write into this file. It should get created out.txt. When you open, it has been written, right? This is how we can write into a file as well, called file writer. So that is what is explained in the PDF. All of you can look into that. How do we make use of read and write operations? So always you get an input stream means they are all byte streams. Means like byte information, binary information, images, files like videos, audio, kind of files you wanted to read, we will use binary streams. And whenever we are working with the character streams, means like file reader, buffered writer, we use with the character stream. So character streams always you can make use for character processing. Okay. So here we have a character stream hierarchy actually, but it is not getting displayed here. Maybe you can check into your system. So here reader and writers. So the same reader file instead of file output stream, we are going to use with a file reader, file writer. Okay. So these readers and writers comes under character streams, which can speed up your read write operations. And basically what is the purpose of buffered reader, buffered writer, buffered input stream, buffered output stream is At a time it can read and write a buffer of content, rather reading one byte at a time or one character at a time. That is the effect of buffered input stream. And streams always play the role of intermediary role, like it's a filtering kind of a role. Buffered stream can read from underlying input stream, and it will speed up your read operation, right? So that is about your readers and writers. You just can explore this. And another important class in IO streams is called file class. What exactly this file class, which is readily available from your IO stream? File is a predefined class. What you can do is any of the file name you can pass. Let us say I am taking this folder name. Here in IO streams, folder and file both comes under file object only. I am passing that folder name here. I can check whether it is a directory, whether it is a file. How can I check is f dot is directory. Then it will say it is a directory is true or not. Similarly, we can check whether it is a file. Is file. Okay. If it is a hidden file, is hidden file. All those methods are directly possible with the file object. See here. True. Is directory is true. Is file is false. What is a file name? Get name. What is the parent of that? Okay. What is the absolute path? Still more functions are available into this file. We can extract a list of files available in that folder. Right. So all that operations are possible. So because of this file class which is readily available for us, we can manipulate with the folders as well. Let us say one task is given to you to display all Java files available in that folder. So this is easily possible with by means of array and this file object. So see all the utility methods of this file class. Can read means whether it is a readable file. Okay, whether it is exist or not. Is file, is directory, get absolute path, get name, get path. Okay, this is all the methods. Let's say you wanted to create a dir inside that, mkdir, make dir directory. List is a method which will give you a list of objects available in that. For example, in this file you have string files, string array I am creating, f dot list is a method. What is the purpose of this list method is nothing but it is going to get all the files available in that folder. Let us say what all the files available in this. I'll take one simple folder where few number of files are there. Okay, this is the path I take. In which this is all day 4 is also folder, right? In which I have these files, right? Now let me give that entire path angular day 4, within which I am going to get into everything into these files. Now let me print that files. How do I print? Iterator string file name colon files is an array, and then I will print it. File name. List of files I am getting directly here because of that file object. See here all the files available. There is a ppt, there is a doc, another docx. All these files list we are getting it. Right? That is the purpose of list method. Similarly, you wanted to make a directory inside that day 4 folder. Simply you can say make dir. Make dir of, I think you need to pass the directory name. You need to check, you need to explore on these available methods. This is about one of the utility class of our IO streams called file class, very important. You can just explore on the methods available on this file class. You can see if you pass a file name, how to get a parent, absolute path, is modified, okay, recent modified date and time, can read, what is the length of the file, all that stuff you can just get it by predefined methods. Also path. Let us say you wanted to check the path of your application. Simply you can say path is another object. You can send a path. You can get all the variables of the path, like name of the path. We have a path variables into our system, right? To know that path, we can make use of this path as well. Like file, there is another thing called path. And in a file class, what all the different operations we can perform with? We can create a file, we can create a directory, we can delete it if it exists. All these operations are possible. So you can check with the methods. F dot, what are all the methods are possible? Delete, right? Can read, can execute, can write, exist, get absolute path, okay? Get parent, get the total space of your class, your file, is absolute, is directory, is file, last modified. You can get when that particular file is modified last. What is the length of the file? All these are predefined methods. You can just make use of those methods. That's all about the path and file classes of IOStream. And another important feature of IOStreams is called as serialization. So observe carefully. So what is serialization? Let us say when we are working with remote applications, you are working with some remote machine, and our system is purely object oriented programming system. When we create an object, our object get created here called product or employee or customer or scholar. Some objects we are creating, and we are doing some operations with that objects. Now I would like to share my object to the remote system, means some other machine. How do I share my object? Strictly remember that we cannot share objects over a network. We cannot send. Okay? Because objects are dynamic. They are stored in a heap memory. So they cannot travel over a network. Second thing is we cannot allow the other user to access our heap memory for security purpose. That is also not allowed. Then how do I share my object to the other system? There should be a standard mechanism, right? So first of all, we have to write our state of our object into a file, because files can be shared over a network. Clear? Files allows network mechanism, communication mechanism, but objects are not. So first let us make our state of our object writing into a file. We'll send a file. We'll receive here, and again we get back the state of our object from this file, and we will read back, so that this object is now available here. This process is called as serialization. Serialization is nothing but persisting the state of an object into a file, writing the state of an object onto a file. Deserialization is getting back the state of an object from a file. Sender will first serialize, receiver will deserialize. Here the process is called as deserialization. Always in our networking remote application, this will be done. Clear? So to perform the serialization, means reading from an object, writing from an object, we need a IO streams, because IO streams are designed to read from a source and write into a destination. IO streams itself is nothing but read and write. It can be a file, it can be an object, it can be anything. So we will perform serialization in the context of IO streams. So I am going to show you the example. All of you observe carefully. It is very important. Serialization. So how do we serialize? See, in our application, just I have a class called loan. I wanted to send my loan details to some other machine. First of all, to serialize any class, that should implement serializable interface. So this is also explained in the PDF. You can go through that. So serialization is needed to process your read-write of objects over a network to communicate with the remote machines. So to perform serialization, the object needs to be serialized, has to implement a serializable interface. And so here we have to make use of IO streams to read and write from an object. So how do we do that? So first we have to implement serializable. As usual, you have content, you have constructor, any other methods of your class. Then after, simple write a test class in which we are creating an object of loan. We just create an object of loan class. It's a simple thing. Now we wanted to write the content of this loan object into a file. So we need a file. So we are creating a file called abc.txt, that is also we wanted to write on our E drive. Then I have to write the content of my loan into this file. So object output stream is a class we need. Object output stream, and you take the file output stream as an input. So this is filtered with this. Now we have a method called write object. File output stream don't have a method of writing an object. So we have to take the support of object output stream. So that object dot write object means first this loan object is written into this, from here it is going here, and then from there it is going and storing into your abc.txt file. This 3 lines of code itself is called as serialization. After we serialize, you can open this file and check what is happening, how the content of this loan object is written into this file, right? So before we perform the remaining concept, just we will try to do this serialization, and we will check the object. You just also you can print here your details of your object, L1 dot loan ID, and then L1 dot your loan amount. This is the content only we are going to write into this, okay, in the form of byte streams. Nobody can see the content of that file. I think here we need to add a package. See, here we are able to display, but actually we are supposed to create this file, right? abc.txt. Let's go here and check in E drive whether abc.txt file is created. When you open this, this is your serialized file, encrypted information of your loan object. This is the file we send through a network, okay? That serialized file we will send through a network so that it is highly secured because it is serialized. Nobody can view that encrypted content. Now that file will go here, they have to read it now, okay, deserialization. So usually we will send this file with another programming called network programming. With this file we will send it to the receiver, they will open it and read it. But our practice purpose we are doing in the same program, same machine, okay. Now the same file I am going to read. In real time this program will be in another file, okay. So I am reading the file which is sent by the sender. Let's say assume here onwards receiver. Okay. In the receiver we are going to perform the operation called deserialization. So we will read it from file input stream, object input stream we will connect it, then read object is a method. Whenever we say read object, first we will get a super class of type object. So we have to convert into our object called loan object. Now, after you deserialize, you wanted to check whether I am able to get the same content from here. I am sending some data here into this file. I have encrypted. I received here. I should get the same content, right? Then only my object is available. So let us check that. This is a deserialized object. We are checking with that. See, before serialization is this is the content, after deserializing we are getting the content, right? This is the process of serialization. It's a very important concept. Whichever object you have to serialize, make sure that you have to implement serializable interface. If you don't have this serializable interface here, okay, you cannot write object, you cannot perform read object. This is not done. And whenever you are implementing serializable interface, you don't need to override any method because there is no methods in your serializable interface. When an interface have no method, that is called as marker interface. There is another interface called clonable interface also. Is a marker interface, doesn't contain any methods, okay. So with this serializable, we can perform, okay, sharing of objects across the network. Means sharing an object from one system to other system. Now, the same thing is explained here. How do we do object serialization? okay, by using serialization demo. If you can open demo folder, you can find some examples, okay, open that and try to practice that IO streams and examples from serialization. See, here you can find in our folder, if you go to, recently I shared with Yogananda, okay, demos folder. Here you can find all these examples.